We are on to another video in the first part of St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica. Today we are on Article 2 of Question 18 in the Prima Pars. As always, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Article 2 asks whether life is an operation. Objection 1. It seems that life is an operation, for nothing is divided except into parts of the same genus. But life is divided by certain operations, as is clear from the philosopher, as he wrote in his De Anima chapter 2, who distinguishes 4 kinds of life, namely nourishment, sensation, local movement, and understanding. Therefore, life is an operation. Reply to Objection 1. The philosopher here takes to live to mean an operation of life. Or it would be better to say that sensation and intelligence and the like are sometimes taken for the operations, sometimes for the existence itself of the operator. For he says in his Ethics that to live is to sense or to understand. In other words, to have a nature capable of sensation or understanding. Thus then, he distinguishes life by the 4 operations mentioned. For in this lower world, there are 4 kinds of living things. It is the nature of some to be capable of nothing more than taking nourishment, and, as a consequence, of growing and generating. Others are able, in addition, to sense, as we see in the case of shellfish and other animals without movement. Others have the further power of moving from place to place, as perfect animals, such as quadrupeds and birds and so on. Others, such as humanity, have the still higher faculty of understanding. Objection 2. Further, the active life is said to be different from the contemplative, but the contemplative is only distinguished from the active by certain operations. Therefore, life is an operation. Thomas's reply to Objection 2. By vital operations are meant those whose principles are within the operator, and in virtue of which the operator produces such operations of itself. It happens that there exist in men not merely such natural principles of certain operations as are their natural powers, but something over and above these, such as habits inclining them, like a second nature, to particular kinds of operations, so that the operations become sources of pleasure. Thus, as by a similitude, any kind of work in which a man takes delight, so that his bent is towards it, his time spent in it, and his whole life ordered with a view to it, is said to be the life of that man. Hence, some are said to lead to a life of self-indulgence, others a life of virtue. In this way, the contemplative life is distinguished from the active, and thus to know God is said to be life eternal. Thomas also considers this to be a reply to Objection 3. Let's read Objection 3. Further, to know God is an operation. To know God is an operation. But this is life, as is clear from the words of John chapter 18, verse 3. Now this is eternal life, that they may know thee, the only true God. Therefore, life is an operation. On the contrary, the philosopher says in his De Anima chapter 2, in living things, to live is to be. I answer that, as is clear from what has been said above, our intellect takes cognizance of the essence of a thing as its proper object, gains knowledge from sense, of which the proper objects are external accidents. Hence, from external appearances, we come to the knowledge of the essence of things. And because we name a thing in accordance with our knowledge of it, as is clear from what has already been said, so from external properties, names are often imposed to signify essences. Hence, such names are sometimes taken strictly to denote the essence itself, the signification of which is their principal object. But sometimes, and less strictly, to denote the properties by reason of which they are imposed. And so we see that the word body is used to denote a genus of substances from the fact of their possessing 3 dimensions, and is sometimes taken to denote the dimensions themselves, in which sense body is said to be a species of quantity. The same must be said of life. The name is given from a certain external appearance, namely self-movement, yet not precisely to signify this, but rather a substance to which self-movement and the application of itself to any kind of operation belong naturally. To live, accordingly, is nothing else than to exist in this or that nature, and life signifies this, though in the abstract, just as the word running denotes to run in the abstract. Hence, living is not an accidental but an essential predicate. Sometimes, however, life is used less properly for the operations from which its name is taken, and thus the philosopher says in his Ethics that to live is principally to sense or to understand. And there we have it. That is Article 2, asking whether life is an operation, of question 18 in the Prima Pars of St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa Theologica. Thank you for watching another video with the Divine Names.